The Cleveland Browns quarterback controversy just reached a point of no return, and the game tape from Buffalo is sending shockwaves through the entire National Football League. While everyone expected rookie jitters, hesitation, and cautious game management, Shedeur Sanders walked into a hostile environment against the Bills' starting defense and delivered an absolute masterclass in pocket poise, timing, and pure arm talent. He took what was supposed to be a standard preseason exhibition and turned it into an undeniable statement that the future in Cleveland has already arrived. The accuracy was surgical, the decision-making was lightning fast, and the command of the huddle looked like that of a 10-year veteran. But before we break down the film that front offices across the league are secretly studying right now, I need your honest take down in the comments. Drop a single word. Type starter if you believe Shedeur has earned the right to run this offense in Week 1, or type bench if you think the veteran contract still locks down the job. Let us see who truly understands where this franchise is heading, because the breakdown you are about to see exposes everything the box score tried to hide. Before moving further, we're pushing for 1,000 subscribers here at Gridiron Ground. If you're enjoying our Browns and Shedeur Sanders coverage, hit that subscribe button and be part of the journey. Let's build this community together. The tension inside the stadium was already thick before the opening kickoff, but Mother Nature decided to test everyone in the building before a single snap was played. Just as both teams finished their intensive pregame warm-ups and the natural adrenaline was reaching its absolute peak, the officiating crew signaled a sudden, indefinite weather delay that stretched past 30 minutes. For an established veteran who has spent a decade in the league, an unexpected delay is simply an inconvenience where you keep your muscles warm, chat with the coaching staff, and gradually ease your mind back into game mode. For a young quarterback preparing to make his first high-profile start against a starting defense loaded with first-round talent, that kind of dead time can be an absolute disaster. The human body naturally cools down, the heart rate drops, and worst of all, the mind begins to wander into dangerous territory. Young quarterbacks trapped in a silent locker room during a delay often begin overthinking the game plan, magnifying the pressure, and second-guessing every single read they spent all week preparing for. Yet when you look at how this young signal caller handled the silence of that locker room, you begin to understand why the whispers out of Berea have been growing louder with each passing day. Team insiders reported that while other young players were visibly restless, pacing the hallways, and constantly checking the weather radar, Shedeur Sanders sat at his locker with total tranquility. He kept his tablet in front of him, quietly reviewing the specific exotic blitz packages Buffalo liked to run on third downs, and spoke with calm confidence to his offensive linemen to make sure everyone remained mentally dialed in. He understood that professional football is 90% mental composure, and letting an uncontrollable variable like a rainstorm dictate your emotional state is the fastest way to fail under the lights. When the game officials finally blew the whistle to summon both rosters back onto the slick turf, there was not an ounce of sluggishness in his body language. He jogged out of that tunnel with the quiet swagger of a player who had already played this entire game out in his mind 100 times over. Staying ahead of the rapid developments, locker room dynamics, and depth chart shifts across the league is what separates casual fans from true football insiders. That is exactly why dedicated football enthusiasts make it a daily habit to stay locked into the NFL updates. When you follow along with the NFL updates, you are getting the raw, unfiltered truth behind front office decisions, contract negotiations, and film room realities long before the national media catches on. Taking a brief moment to join our community ensures you never miss a critical breakdown that dictates the future of your favorite franchise. When Sanders finally stepped behind the center for his very first snap of the evening, the entire atmosphere on the field transformed. The Buffalo Bills were not treating this contest like a light walkthrough or running basic, vanilla coverages designed to evaluate fringe roster talent. Their defensive coordinator had starting defenders on the field, calling aggressive pressman coverage on the outside, disguising safety rotations, and daring a young quarterback to make a mistake against complex NFL schemes. But the moment the ball was snapped, the 30-minute pause looked completely meaningless. Sanders took his drop with rhythmic precision, planted his back foot on the wet grass without a hint of hesitation, and delivered the ball with effortless velocity. His internal pocket clock was functioning at an elite level from the jump. You could instantly tell that the speed of the professional game was not overwhelming him. If anything, the game looked like it was slowing down to his pace, proving that his mental preparation during the delay had set the foundation for a dominant night. Offensive coordinator Todd Monken delivered a very clear, liberating message to his young quarterback right before the offense took the field. Let it rip, have fun, and play the game you have been dominating since you were a kid. That exact sense of fearlessness and freedom was visible on every single snap of Cleveland's opening possession. Flanked by dynamic young playmakers like Isaiah Bond and Denzel Boston on the outside, Sanders operated with an up-tempo urgency that caught the Buffalo sideline completely flat-footed. The Bills attempted to set a physical tone early by stacking 8 defenders near the line of scrimmage, showing heavy run blitz looks, and trying to force the young passer into hurry.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Inaccurate throws outside the numbers. Instead of panicking against the loaded front, Sanders executed a masterclass in pocket management and downfield vision. On his initial dropbacks, the offensive line provided adequate protection, but the true brilliance of the drive was the subtle movement within the pocket itself. When the Buffalo edge rushers bent the corner, Sanders did not instinctively drop his eyes to look at the rush or scramble prematurely toward the sideline. He stepped up with quiet, balanced footwork into the teeth of the pocket, keeping his eyes firmly locked on the intermediate passing lanes. His first completion was a crisp, on-time strike that allowed his receiver to turn upfield for positive yardage and immediately established a positive rhythm for the entire offensive unit. As the drive progressed into Buffalo territory, the defensive adjustments became more aggressive. The Bills shifted into disguised zone coverages, attempting to bait Sanders into throwing into underneath linebacker traps. But the young quarterback displayed the patience of a seasoned veteran, repeatedly manipulating the underneath defenders with subtle head fakes and shoulder movements to create wider throwing windows. He was not forcing low-percentage deep shots, nor was he settling for meaningless zero-yard dump-offs behind the line of scrimmage. He was methodically taking exactly what the defense surrendered while constantly pushing the ball toward the line to gain. The drive reached its climax inside the red zone, where defensive windows shrink to mere inches and split-second hesitation results in sacks or turnovers. Facing a critical scoring opportunity, Sanders identified Buffalo zone coverage before the ball was even snapped. Tight end Luke Floria, who had spent countless hours building off-season chemistry with Sanders, executed a precise route between the closing linebackers and the over-the-top safety help. Sanders held the safety in the middle of the field with his eyes, planted his cleats, and fired an absolute dart into the back of the end zone, right into Floria waiting hands for an 8-yard touchdown strike. That opening drive concluded with a flawless 4-for-4 passing performance for 43 yards, capped by a picture-perfect score. Yet the raw numbers barely tell the full story of what transpired. It was the total command of the huddle, the rapid identification of defensive fronts, and the surgical precision of the ball placement that had the coaching staff buzzing on the sideline. In just one single possession against a starting caliber defense, Shedeur Sanders had completely dismantled the opposing game plan and sent a loud, undeniable message to the entire organization that he was ready to handle the full weight of an NFL offense. Whenever a young quarterback finishes an exhibition game with an interception attached to his final stat line, Surface-level analysts and box score watchers immediately jump to negative conclusions. The critics who refuse to study the actual coach's film see that single turnover on the stat sheet and automatically assume the rookie was reckless, misread a coverage, or made a panic throw under pressure. But anyone who genuinely understands professional football and breaks down every individual frame of the tape knows that box scores often tell a completely fictional story. When you sit down and roll the tape on the lone turnover of the night, the reality of the play completely exonerates the quarterback and actually highlights his exceptional poise under fire. On the play in question, the offense lined up in an empty backfield set, presenting multiple passing options across the formation with a single receiver at the bottom, a split tight end, and an outside receiver up top. Buffalo recognized the empty set and dialed up an aggressive defensive look, bringing pressure right up the middle to force an immediate off-balance decision. As the pocket began to collapse from the interior, Sanders did not flinch. He executed a textbook slide step inside the pocket, created a clean throwing platform for himself, and processed his progressions in a fraction of a second. He recognized that the tight end, wearing number 85,
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
had found clear separation across the middle of the field on a quick crossing route right behind the blitzing linebackers. Sanders delivered a perfectly calibrated throw with ideal velocity and textbook ball placement. The football arrived right on time, hitting the tight end directly in the chest, and between both numbers where only the receiver had a play on it. It was an NFL-caliber throw designed to lead the target safely into open grass for an easy first down conversion. However, instead of securing the catch and turning upfield, the tight end failed to clamp his hands around the football. The ball bounced violently off his chest plate, ricocheted several yards straight up into the air, and landed directly into the arms of a trailing Buffalo defender for a fluke interception. Receivers across the league are taught from day one that if a thrown ball touches both of your hands and hits your chest, failing to secure it is an inexcusable mistake. Yet because of how football statistics are recorded, the quarterback is forced to shoulder the blame on the official stat sheet for an error that was entirely on his pass catcher. If that basic catch is made, Sanders finishes the evening with a near-perfect completion percentage, 0 turnovers, and an even higher passer rating. This exact distinction between box score narratives and authentic game film is the reason why serious football fans make sure they are subscribed to the NFL updates. While mainstream sports media outlets often rely on lazy headlines and superficial stat lines to generate quick debates, subscribing to the NFL updates gives you the granular, unfiltered truth of what actually happens on the field from an analytical standpoint. Becoming a dedicated subscriber ensures that you always see the complete picture before forming your opinions on the league's biggest stories. What truly elevated Sanders in the eyes of the coaching staff was his immediate demeanor following that unlucky turnover. In situations like that, immature quarterbacks often throw their hands in the air, display visible anger toward their teammates, or pout on the sideline. Sanders did none of that. He jogged off the field with his head held high, immediately grabbed his Microsoft Surface tablet on the bench, and walked over to the tight end to discuss how they would attack that exact same defensive coverage on the very next series. That level of unshakable leadership and emotional stability under adverse conditions is something that cannot be taught at the professional level. You either have it in your DNA or you do not. To fully grasp the magnitude of the quarterback debate currently unfolding in Cleveland, you have to place Shedeur Sanders' performance directly alongside what Deshaun Watson put on tape during his preseason appearance against the Chicago Bears. When you look at the raw statistics on paper without context, Watson's stat line looks completely serviceable. He completed 11 of his 15 passing attempts for 126 yards, avoided throwing an interception, and was brought down for only 1 sack. But the moment you turn on the actual game film and compare the two quarterbacks side by side, the contrast in rhythm, confidence, and schematic execution is staggering. Throughout his time on the field, Watson operated with an overwhelming sense of hesitation and caution that severely limited what the offense could achieve. A massive percentage of Watson passing production came from behind or at the line of scrimmage, leaning heavily on basic wide receiver screens, flat routes to running backs, and immediate safety valves. Beat reporters who observed every single open practice during training camp in Berea had already been raising red flags about Watson's noticeable reluctance to push the football downfield into tight intermediate windows. Against Chicago, those exact same training camp concerns manifested under the stadium lights. The offense under Watson felt stiff, predictable, and completely devoid of explosive chunk plays. It looked like the tape of a quarterback who was terrified of making a catastrophic mistake rather than a franchise leader trying to dictate terms to the defense. When Sanders entered the lineup against Buffalo, the offensive energy completely transformed. Sanders was not interested in padding his completion percentage with safe, zero-risk checkdowns, while the opposing secondary sat comfortably in their zones. He repeatedly attacked the intermediate seams, challenged the safeties over the middle, and threw with anticipatory timing that allowed his receivers to create significant yards after the catch. He took the checkdown when the defense dropped deep, but his primary objective on every single dropback was to find the most advantageous downfield matchup and exploit it ruthlessly. The difference in pocket mechanics between the two passers was equally glaring. Watson frequently appeared jittery in the pocket, holding onto the football.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
For extended periods, double-clutching his throws, and drifting backward into the path of edge rushers rather than stepping up into clean passing lanes. Sanders, on the other hand, exhibited immaculate pocket awareness. His dropbacks were crisp, his platform remained balanced, and his throwing motion was compact and repeatable. He processed defensive rotations before the rush could affect his vision, allowing him to deliver accurate strikes right on schedule. Football coaches across the league will tell you that the legendary eye test always supersedes the raw numbers in the box score. When you watch the tape of this offense under both signal callers, there is an unmistakable difference in tempo, player body language, and overall execution. The entire unit plays with noticeably more confidence, speed, and aggression when Sanders is the one calling the plays in the huddle. Watson may possess the massive contract and the past accolades, but the current game film makes it crystal clear which quarterback is running the offense with superior command, accuracy, and decisiveness right now. One of the defining characteristics of an elite, generational quarterback is the rare ability to elevate the talent around him rather than relying on superstars to carry the offense. Throughout his legendary career, Tom Brady consistently proved that a great quarterback does not require a roster full of high-priced, first-round wide receivers to build a top-ranked defense. Brady built a dynasty by understanding timing, ball placement, and trust, taking unheralded late-round draft picks, undrafted free agents, and practice squad players, and transforming them into highly productive, game-winning weapons. During his time on the field against the Buffalo Bills, Shedeur Sanders put that exact same transformative trait on full display with his supporting cast. The most glaring example of this dynamic was the sudden breakout performance of tight end Luke Floria. Entering the game, Floria was not viewed by outside analysts as a primary focal point of the Browns' offensive game plan. However, because Floria had spent countless hours grinding alongside Sanders during informal off-season throwing sessions in the Hungry Dogs program, the chemistry between the two was instantaneous. Sanders did not wait for Floria to create wide-open separation before pulling the trigger. He trusted the tight end route depth, threw the football with anticipation into tight windows, and placed the ball in locations that protected his receiver from incoming hits. On one particularly impressive third down conversion, Floria lined up in the slot and executed a deep crossing route straight across the heart of the Buffalo defense. The coverage was exceptionally tight, with Buffalo starting safety Damar Hamlin closing in rapidly from the deep third to contest the passing lane. A hesitant quarterback would have bypassed the route entirely or checked the ball down short of the first down marker to avoid the collision. Sanders did neither. He stood tall in the pocket, waited for Floria to clear the underneath linebacker, and fired an absolute laser right into Floria's chest plate, hitting him in stride and converting a crucial first down against a starting NFL defensive back. Even when talented young wideout Denzel Boston was pulled from the contest after the conclusion of the first quarter, the passing attack never lost its rhythm or efficiency. Many young quarterbacks become entirely dependent on their primary target and struggle when their top option is taken out of the game plan. Sanders, however, simply continued to cycle through his full progression tree on every snap, distributing the football accurately to whichever pass catcher found daylight in the secondary. He treated every receiver on the field as a viable weapon, forcing the Buffalo defense to defend every blade of grass. When an entire wide receiver and tight end room realizes that their quarterback will deliver the ball on time whenever they win their route, the collective effort of the offense skyrockets. Pass catchers run their routes with maximum precision, perimeter blocking becomes noticeably more aggressive, and the entire unit operates with unwavering belief. Sanders demonstrated that he does not need a superstar-laden depth chart to move the football against an elite defense. By consistently putting the ball in the perfect spot and playing with unyielding confidence, he raised the floor of everyone around him, proving that he possesses the rare leadership qualities necessary to command an NFL offense at the highest level. To truly understand why the momentum is shifting so rapidly in Cleveland, you have to look at the intricate offensive philosophy of coordinator Todd Monken. Throughout his coaching career at both the collegiate and professional levels, Monken has earned a reputation as an offensive innovator who demands absolute precision, rapid mental processing, and ruthless downfield aggression from his quarterbacks. Monken's system is not designed for a signal caller who hesitates, bails out of clean pockets, or relies strictly on broken play scrambling. It requires a field general who can diagnose defensive coverage schemes before the snap, identify the single vulnerability in the secondary, and deliver the ball on time with pinpoint accuracy. During the entire offseason program, reports from inside the facility indicated that Monken was thoroughly impressed with how quickly Sanders mastered the voluminous playbook terminology. While many rookie quarterbacks struggle to transition from simplified college systems to complex NFL passing trees, Sanders showed an immediate grasp of Monken's advanced concepts, including sophisticated audible packages, protection adjustments, and sight adjustments against heavy blitz looks. When Sanders was on the field against Buffalo, Monken did not have to scale back the playbook or call simplified plays. He was able to dial up his full, expansive offensive menu, featuring spread formations, motion concepts, and deep choice routes. The dilemma currently confronting the coaching staff is that Sanders looks like an infinitely more natural schematic fit for Monken modern passing attack.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Than the veteran alternative. Monken offense is specifically engineered to stretch opposing defenses across all three levels of the field, using intermediate crossing routes and vertical seams to create massive throwing lanes. Sanders' quick, compact release and natural throwing mechanics allow those route concepts to develop exactly on schedule. When the ball comes out of the quarterback hand the exact millisecond the receiver breaks out of his cut, defensive backs simply do not have the recovery speed to contest the pass. with Monken publicly confirming that a definitive decision regarding the starting quarterback position will be made in the coming days. The conversations inside the coaching rooms have reached a critical juncture. Modern NFL coaches rely heavily on objective performance analytics, and every single advanced metric from time to throw, third down conversion efficiency, red zone accuracy, and passing velocity points heavily in favor of Sanders. The coaching staff knows that their ultimate job security depends on winning football games right now, and the game film from Buffalo provided undeniable, concrete evidence that this modern offensive system reaches its absolute highest ceiling when Sanders is running the show. Behind every critical personnel decision in the National Football League lies a complex battle between front office politics, financial investments, and pure on-field performance. The Cleveland Browns currently find themselves trapped in one of the most unprecedented financial situations in professional sports history due to the monumental, fully guaranteed $230 million contract committed to Deshaun Watson. When an ownership group and front office invest that historic amount of guaranteed capital into a single player, there is an immense organizational pressure to keep that player on the field at all costs, simply to justify the massive expenditure and avoid public embarrassment. However, professional football is not played on an accounting spreadsheet. It is played in a locker room filled with 53 elite athletes who put their health and careers on the line every single week to win games. NFL players are the most perceptive evaluators of talent in the world, and they recognize instantly which quarterback gives the team the best chance to compete for a championship. When the players see a young, fearless quarterback dominating during daily practices and translating that success directly into live game action against starting NFL defenses, the internal culture of the locker room shifts dramatically. Forcing a struggling, hesitant veteran onto the field purely to protect financial pride is the fastest way to lose the trust and respect of the entire locker room. Navigating the hidden dynamics of front office power struggles, salary cap implications, and locker room chemistry is why true football fans make sure they are constantly connected with the NFL updates. Subscribing to the NFL updates gives you direct access to the inside stories, roster developments, and organizational debates that dictate how franchises make their most difficult decisions. Hit that subscribe button right now to ensure you stay ahead of every major breaking development across the league. The fundamental question facing the Browns organization is whether they have the institutional courage to embrace a true meritocracy over financial sunk costs. History has repeatedly shown that the most successful franchises in sports are the ones willing to make difficult, ruthless personnel decisions when the on-field evidence demands it. When a young player proves without a shadow of a doubt that he is the superior option, delaying the transition only damages team morale, wastes valuable developmental reps, and hurts the franchise's long-term trajectory. The evidence on tape is overwhelming. The locker room can feel the momentum building, and the organization must now decide whether they will prioritize their past financial mistakes or their championship future. The performance that Shedeur Sanders delivered against the Buffalo Bills was not a minor flash in the pan, a product of lucky bounces, or the result of playing against a soft, second-team defense. He was thrust into a high-pressure environment, endured a 30-minute weather delay that would have rattled most young quarterbacks, and systematically carved up a starting NFL defense with veteran-level poise. He proved beyond any reasonable doubt that he possesses the pocket presence, the arm talent, the processing speed, and the unshakable mental fortitude required to lead a franchise at the highest level of professional sports. With the regular season rapidly approaching, the Browns simply cannot afford to waste any more time splitting valuable first-team repetitions during practice. Every single day that passes without a definitive starting quarterback named is a lost opportunity to build essential timing with the primary wide receivers, master the nuances of the weekly game plan, and establish a clear offensive identity. The coaching staff and front office know that the eyes of the entire football world are watching how they handle this situation, and opposing defensive coordinators who watched the Buffalo game film are already preparing for the reality of facing Sanders. The era of tentative, conservative quarterback play in Cleveland is rapidly coming to an end, making way for an explosive, fearless new chapter. Sanders has checked every single box the organization could have possibly asked for since the day he arrived, dominating in training camp drills, outplaying his competition in preseason action, and winning over the respect of his teammates in the locker room. The momentum is undeniable, the game tape is conclusive, and the writing is permanently on the wall. The time for hesitation has passed, and the official announcement naming Shedeur Sanders the starting quarterback is now only a matter of when, not if. When you step back and evaluate the entire landscape of this quarterback battle, the truth is impossible to ignore. Shedeur Sanders did not just play well against the Buffalo Bills. He completely transformed the energy, identity, and future trajectory of the Cleveland Browns offense in a single evening. He proved that true leadership is about performance, poise under adversity, and elevating the players around you when the pressure is at its absolute highest. The massive contract numbers and past reputations mean nothing when the game tape reveals a clear, undeniable gap in execution and confidence. The coaching staff has all the evidence they need, the locker room is ready to follow, and the franchise stands on the threshold of a thrilling new era. What do you think the front office will do next? Drop your final score predictions and thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button, and be sure to subscribe for all the latest updates as this historic season officially unfolds.